Hey, Alan, can you introduce yourself? And when did you start selling real estate?
Yeah, so my name's Alan. I'm a real estate agent based out of Calgary, Alberta. I started selling real estate, I think it's coming up 3 years in like a month. So yeah, it's been almost 3 years. It's been really good. I'm happy with it. Before real estate, I took engineering at Queen's, but just hated the industry and didn't want to be an engineer. So got my license, and then ever since then, I've been on social media and just been trying to grow and grow. And yeah, can't complain. It's been really good. So
That's amazing. Yeah, not very often that you hear engineers pivoting into real estate.
yeah.
So, how's it going so far? Like, and has social media, you mentioned that a couple of times, has social media been impactful to the business?
Yeah, it's the only thing I do to really market myself. I don't door knock, I don't cold call. The only thing I rely on is social media, and that's how I kind of just grew my page and my business. I'd never started with anything else. So in the beginning, I know I was posting 3 times a day and just trying to grow the page and stuff, and then you only see the benefits after so many months, but it's been it's probably the most important thing in my business, I'd say.
Damn. And
Yeah.
so I'm guessing like initially a lot of your business came from there, but is that how you initially laid your foundation? And then I'm guessing you're probably now getting referrals and it's basically still compounding?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, I think in the beginning it was all through social media, and now yes, the referrals are starting to come in. When you do a good job. So it's not only about social media and stuff. You still have to do a good job, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the way you can really compound in this business. But yeah, no, social media was the only thing I really relied on. And as your page grows, you'll start to get more leads, and even as time goes on, your personal brand will only get stronger. So you're only going to see your business grow, right? So I just find it really cool because if you post one video, you can reach 7,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Imagine cold calling 7,000 people. Like that's going to take you, I don't even know. I've never cold called, right? So, yeah, I just think it's really powerful.
Yeah, totally. And for the audience that doesn't know that Alan crushes it on social media, I just wanted to screen share his Instagram. This is his handle, and you can go and follow it. And this is what he means by the 7,000 number. And what I'm really impressed by when it comes to your Instagram, TikTok, is just the quality of videos. Like the way you show a home, there's just so much information in such a short amount of time, and it feels like you're walking through the home. So
Right.
there's no doubt in my mind like why you are succeeding there. And there's a lot that other realtors can learn from that. In terms of you know in how much percentage wise now do you think your leads come from social media versus referrals, and was that percentage different before? I'm guessing before it was probably 100% people maybe DMing you. Now is that kind of becoming more diversified?
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was 100% through social media. So they would either DM me, find my number somehow, email me, or they'd sign up on my website
Yeah.
just as a lead capture, right? So I have their information. Now it's like now I would still say it's still about 80%, 80% social, 20% referrals, I'd say. But I'm only 3 years in the business. Usually you start to see referrals in that 5 year mark anyways,
Yeah.
because people start to sell and then their friends want to buy, whatever, right? But
Yeah.
I have seen, yeah, definitely, especially in these past couple months, I've been getting a ton of referrals.
Mm.
So yeah, but I'd still say most of the business is still those new leads coming through socials.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
It's just insane that even a couple of years in, social media can still be powerful.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know people that are. I know this one guy in the States. I think he's making like 100K a month just through short form content, making like on social media, right?
Mm.
I know another guy in Edmonton who did social media first year in his business, and he is like, I think he made over 6 figures for sure in his first year, maybe over 200K in his first year.
Damn.
In his first year, which is insane. So yeah, man, it's so powerful.
Yeah, like you said, it's rather than cold calling one by one, it's just so much better and non-intrusive almost
Yeah.
to capture attention where people are already looking at homes. I wanted to ask you, what are some other factors that you attribute your success to? Any tangible skills, obviously social media, whatever comes to mind. I think that would really help other realtors that are starting out as well.
Yeah. To be honest, even when I started, I mean, I had no background in social media, I had no background in really real estate, I had no background in anything. I think one of the skills I did possess was from engineering, and that was my work ethic. I think that obviously helped a lot, right? Because I really didn't have any, like my first videos, if you scroll down my profile, they were terrible. Like they're
Yeah,
so bad, like
yeah,
so cringy, right? But you just have to get through that hurdle, and you have to just learn by doing, and repetition and consistency is going to get you a lot farther than perfecting a video. So my advice, yeah, to other realtors is don't try to perfect a video, just post, just pick
yeah.
up the camera, post whatever. and stay consistent. And if you do that, you naturally will just get better, right? So
Mm. And now on, staying consistent, like the reason that I think it's so hard for people is because they look at the number of steps and they kind of get intimidated and they're like, oh wow, I have to shoot, I have to, have a voiceover, I have to introduce myself on camera, and then I have to edit it, and then like so there's so many steps in the way. But I wanted to understand, what is your video creation process to showcase listings? Like how do you go about it?
yeah, so first things first, I try to find a place to list or to film, sorry. So, getting in touch with agents in your brokerage or getting in touch with other agents in your market, and just ask them, hey, like, let me do a quick video for free, just free promotion for you and your seller.
Mm,
And sometimes they say no, sometimes they say yes, right? But after that, you just go. I use like a gimbal
yeah.
and all I use is my 13 Pro Max, which I probably should upgrade right now, but um, I just use my phone and a gimbal. I go and I film with all the lights on, and then airdrop it to my laptop, edit through CapCut. Then I do the voiceover, and
Mm,
then just like kind of match everything up.
mm,
And then yeah, and then I just choose the song on Instagram and just post. Very, very easy, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Easy for you now because you have to
Yeah.
process down. But do you like think about the voiceover before shooting the video, like, or like in your mind, do you have an idea of, okay, these are the main areas you want to highlight in the home, so you'll probably focus on those?
Yeah, usually I don't have like I don't really think about I now I'm just so used to it that it's just like
Yeah,
whatever now, right? When you do it like 3 times a day for like months, like you just get used to it.
yeah,
In the beginning, I definitely would think a little bit harder. I'd be like, okay, like I'm gonna say this in my video, so I'm gonna film like this, or I'm gonna show this because this is a cool part of the home, right?
mm,
Um, so yeah, in the beginning, I would definitely think, but I honestly wouldn't put that much thought into it. I'd rather just film,
mm,
get like look at the content what I have, and kind of match after that because I was just trying to post, you know,
yeah,
too much. I
yeah.
was just let's get the videos out there and just put my name out there.
So basically, for other realtors out there, just don't try to be a perfectionist. Just try to
Mhm.
put out content, start getting feedback, and then perfect your process from there. I think even for me as a content creator, sometimes I'm overthinking, like, this is not perfect, this is not perfect. But there's people like Gen Z and even younger folks that just come out, talk to the camera, like, it's just a
Crazy.
friend, and they're just so natural, and they're not overthinking that, perfectionism.
Yeah, it's hard to get over that too because it's like your face is out there, your friends are gonna see it, your family's gonna see it, your whole network's gonna see it. So you always want to try to perfect it, but like it's when you try too hard, I find that it even gets sometimes it gets worse because now you're like looking at so many details and you're gonna be so unhappy with it, then you're just not gonna do it again, right? So just like yeah, if for anyone that wants to see improvements, just look at like when I first started posting, it was so cringe. It was terrible, but I still did it because I had to. There was no other choice, right? So
Yeah.
it's either you do it or you don't, basically.
Mm. Um, how are you like planning and on building your brand in 2025? What are your targets, and how are you going to get there? Like in 2025, are you doubling down on social media or are you taking a step back?
Yeah, good. I'm definitely doubling down on social media.
Mm,
Um, yeah, it's just more of this staying organized and consistent posting.
mm,
So I'll have I have a more how should I like a set plan of posting. So this day I want to do this type of home, and then this day I'll do this type of home, and I'll try to mix up the content because um, I know what kind of does well now in my market
yeah,
for homes. So just staying consistent and keep posting and always trying to improve um, and introduce different types of content because it's not all about posting those reels. You got to share on your stories as well. That's really important, right? So
yeah,
um, yeah, there's a lot of things, but mostly just consistency and um, getting my stories also more consistent, I think.
right, right.
Mhm.
Um, and in terms of like zooming out a little bit, like what about in the next 5 years? What are your targets in the next 5 years or 10 years? Have you thought about them eventually? Do you want to have your own agency? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. Within the next 5 years, for sure, I want to have my own team. Uh,
Wow.
I don't know how many. I wrote it down somewhere. I honestly, it's probably bad that I forgot. But I don't know how many people I want. But
Yeah.
I do want to have a team for sure.
Mm,
Um, I think starting a team is more so for me in the next like 3 years, and then 5 years will just be continuing to grow the team
yeah.
and really perfecting every single part of the business and um, honestly just being able to help people out and
Yeah.
buying or selling like to the best of your ability. I think that's what will help me reach that goal. I think.
Right.
So yeah, 5 years definitely start a team, um, and I think if it can be like a social media team, that'd be cool. But there's so many different ways you can go about that. I haven't really thought about that much, but definitely the team and just continuing to grow.
Nice.
Yeah.
One thinking and thought that people have is that, this sort of video creation to showcase homes and to get proper leads only works in cities like Calgary and Austin, places where, people across the country are looking to invest in because maybe it's a little bit more affordable and the city is growing. I wanted to ask you, like, from the DMs and like social media interest that you get from qualified leads, like what percentage of them are based in Calgary and looking to buy versus like across Canada? Like, do you think these are the only places where video marketing works, or do you also think that this can work in hyper local kind of areas as well, where people aren't looking to buy from across the country?
Yeah. So I think with my leads, a lot of them are based. It's hard to say. I'd say like 70% are based in Calgary, 30% are outside.
Mm,
Um, but that being said, I mean, that's just because that's just the Calgary market, right? That's just how it
mm,
is.
yeah.
That shit doesn't mean that, like, yeah, I definitely believe like it does not only work for Calgary. Like this should work for any market,
Mm,
any place, even a town or whatever, even if it's a small town.
yeah.
You don't get as many followers and views, but that
Mm,
just there's less people interested in that market, but
mm,
you're still reaching the people that are interested, right?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even if you have a video that reaches 200 people, that's 200 people that raise their hand and chose to watch your video, right? So I think it's good for any market, and especially I think it's actually better for those smaller markets because usually they don't have anyone that's on social media yet,
Mm,
and if you can be the first one to it and kind of dominate that space, you'll see a ton of rewards. Like you'll be getting tons of leads, you'll be too busy. But yeah, social media is for every single market, 100%.
oh wow, that's insightful.
Mhm.
I was um, going to ask you, my next question is, any other advice you'd like to share with realtors who are looking to grow their business, get more leads from social media, maybe your younger self, or even, frankly, a lot of times people who are later in their careers that want to sell more homes but may not be so good in the social media game? Any advice to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest piece of advice is what I kind of said earlier is just honestly, you got to just post. You have to pick up the camera, record, and you have to post because
Yeah.
if you try to again be a perfectionist and try to perfect every single video, you're just missing out on opportunities because you don't know what your audience is going to like. Sometimes, honestly, a lot of them like the authenticity, and if you mess up or something, they actually like you want to be like a robot that's scripted, right? So, um, yeah, posting and being consistent is the biggest thing. If you can post and be consistent, even if it's like bad quality, it may take you a bit longer, but you're still going to reach your goal, right? So, consistency, invest in like if you're doing like home tours or something, invest in an iPhone. Yeah, invest in an iPhone that has like the 3 cameras or something.
Yeah.
Get a DJI OM gimbal.
Yeah.
And then recently, like I've been using a drone for home tours, so drone's been helping quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, and just honestly, like yeah, like just keep recording and you'll just play around with the software, the editing software. You'll learn eventually, but you can only learn by doing, is what I'm trying to say. So a lot of
Mhm.
people don't start because they're like, oh, it's so overwhelming. But if you just take it one step at a time, go record first, upload your footage to the editing software, and just play around with it, it's a lot easier than people think.
Mm. Otherwise, I was going to ask you, like, when it comes to like reaching out to realtors to market their listings, is there hesitation from like seller, like the listing agent when you're reaching out to market their listing? Have you seen that a lot, or mostly are listing agents like open to you video marketing that listing? Yeah, like I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, no, there is hesitation from listing agents for sure, but that's because they just want to keep their listing so that they can market themselves, right? And not help anyone else market themselves.
Yeah.
Which is fair, but I also see the other side of it as, okay, you're serving your seller. You want the most reach for your seller. Your job is to sell this property. You don't shouldn't be focusing on yourself. You should be focusing on your client. And if there's a free opportunity to market your property and get thousands of views on it,
Mm.
it's a good idea. But again, to each their own. I'd say about like 50% say no, 50% say yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I think, good for our audience to know. And the last question was like, obviously you get buying interest from your social media, but has your social media profile also led to you getting more listings, like to become the listing agent on? Like, is that something you're starting to see where, people potentially looking to sell their homes is like, hey, Alan has a great social media, we want to list with him. Have you seen that? Like, what has that been like?
With it, the first 2 years was like 95% buyers, like no
Mhm.
sellers.
Yeah.
Recently, though, it's been like the opposite. It's been like 95% sellers, no
Yeah.
less buyers, right? Which is interesting. So I'm only recently starting to see this. I don't
Mhm.
know why. Maybe it's just more of a presence, and my name's out there for a longer time now.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe that's why. But yeah, it's been a lot more sellers lately than buyers.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I don't know why. No idea.
It's also because you put your face in front of the camera, and I think people associate like I think people not only follow you for the homes you showcase, but for you and the fact that you have a personality that you're bringing around in your social media, also your market updates. Like a big part of that is actually like following Alan and not just looking at the home. So I think that's also another important factor.
Yeah, I think no, that actually does make sense. I never. It's sometimes hard to wrap my head around that because I'm like in it, like I'm in it for yeah, like I don't, I'm just like submerged in it, right? So it's interesting when people say that when they follow you for you, but it makes sense. I mean, personal brand is not only in real estate but across the board, right?
Yeah,
It's so powerful, um, which is only another reason why. I mean, I think agents need not need but should
yeah,
highly consider getting on social media now before it gets diluted and there's way more competition on it. So
absolutely. Well, Ellen, thank you so much for your time. And this was incredibly helpful. I'm sure our audience is going to get a lot of value from it. So thank you so much.
yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to see this editing software that you have.
Yeah, 100%.